All right. So, hi. Today we have Miss Dottie with us today. Yay. Yeah. So glad to have you, Miss Dottie. I
Thank
want you
you.
to, yeah, go. And I know, sometimes we've been so busy. You've had a lot of travel in the past few weeks. So, yeah. So glad to have you. And
Thank
thanks for
you.
making time.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, just please tell us a little bit about yourself, and uh, yeah, we'll start from
Okay.
there.
So I'm Doti Monari, famously known as Doti Monari, but the ID name is Dorcas Monari. I'm a mom to one son, Darrell, and he's a 5-year-old now.
Okay.
Yeah, a very bossy kid, but thank God he's alive.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm an advocate of mental health, and I support my friends who are dealing with women, single mothers, and girls back in Kenya who need things like pads and all that. Yeah, so partnering with people is my job, and yeah, just helping, doing charity pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. For all you do. For Darrell, for the foundation in Kenya, and hopefully we can help some way.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, Miss Dottie, I mean, we are going through a crisis. I know there's a you watch the news, we have so much going on right now. I just wanted you to shed some light for us on um, how we help people who are dealing with a crisis right now. It could be teenagers, it could be women, it could be the elderly. So could you shed some light on that, because you talked about mental health too.
yeah.
Hmm.
So oh, there's a lot going around, be it in Kenya, where we come from, or be it here. So I think what made me learn how to handle a mental crisis was when I lost my friend, Sherin Nyamukeri. And the
I'm
reason
sorry.
is because I saw her struggle with mental illness.
Okay.
And during her last days, I had a chat with her, and she had the opportunity to share on how she felt, like how she felt the community wasn't really caring about her, how she felt nobody cared about her, how she felt alone, even though she had family and friends.
Hmm.
And that was a wake up call for me.
Hmm.
Like, it is true, we can see somebody beautiful and all that. We can think they're happy. We can think they can have any man in the world. They have it all. She was very smart. But it made me understand it's true, somebody can feel alone with all that. And she had family, she had beautiful family. And for her laying in the bed telling me that she feels alone for the longest, I was so much confused. And it was my first time me learning so closely what really mental health feels like, because I myself have felt alone, but hearing somebody else saying they feel alone,
Yeah.
it sounded new to me.
Okay.
So, and she was like, the church doesn't like me. I try to go to church, nobody accepts me, so I don't think life makes sense. And she lost me when she said life doesn't make sense, because I was like, you have all you need, you know, you're provided with everything that you need. Your dad is a very caring dad, your mom, she's a very caring mom, you have a very caring brother. For me, I thought she had everything. I assumed she had everything she needed. But even though she had everything she needed, she felt alone until she had to take her own life. So when she took her life, that's when I sunk into depression because I didn't know she could live that soon. And I didn't imagine she was death over life. And yeah, so her death has really taught me a lot. It made me do more research on mental illness. And yeah, just learning. For mental health, every day is a learning experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can stop learning.
Yeah. Dottie, I am so sorry. I mean, I didn't know Cookie. I
Yeah,
know,
cookie. Yeah.
yeah, Passe, but I did visit with the family. I think when I heard that, she had passed away, so and I just, went there to give my condolences to the father and the other family. So I am, I am so sorry to
Okay.
hear that. Yeah, and I am so glad that you bring to light what really depression looks like. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, we might think, oh, I know she should be happy. She has
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, or this person has everything. And, why are they still depressed? So,
Hmm.
could you share with us, like, what are some of our symptoms that you noticed with uh, Miss?
So, well, let me give my case because even me, I've been struggling. I
Yes.
struggled back in 2012, 2011, 2012 when I transitioned from Kenya to here.
Mm-hmm.
The culture shock was a big deal.
Okay.
And
Because,
the climate change
mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a drastic change that I wasn't ready for. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what I'm coming into.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell into depression, which I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know it was depression that time.
Okay.
I felt some sadness
Okay.
that I never felt for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to ask myself, why am I feeling this way? Is it
Mm-hmm.
because I left my mom back home? Is it because I've left all my friends back home?
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out to be, yeah, you being separated from your normal routine,
Mm-hmm.
your friends, you separating from your friends, your mother that you're
Yes.
used to, your family that you're used to,
Mm-hmm.
the environment you're used to a new, totally different environment
Yes.
triggers your chemicals in the brain. Because you start thinking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I supposed to do to be happy again? What am I supposed to do to feel comfortable? What am I supposed to do to start making friends? That's something hard to do.
It is
Making
something
new
hard to
friends,
do.
it's
Yes.
hard. And so going through that drastic change.
Mm-hmm.
So I was diagnosed by 2011. I was diagnosed by bipolar depression,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, so I used to ask my father, so what is bipolar depression?
Mm-hmm.
They wrote on my paper bipolar depression, because in Africa nobody talked about mental health,
Okay.
and nobody. We used to have people running mad on the streets, and
Mm-hmm.
we are like they are bewitched,
Mm-hmm.
and we leave it like that.
Yes.
But we really didn't get to the root of why they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And if we really realized that back then that's a health condition that was to be treated,
Mm-hmm.
I think we could have saved a lot of people's lives.
True.
But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so yeah, I was admitted to a mental facility that's Fairview in
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis.
Yes.
So being admitted there, you are taught about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You are taught what to say and what not to say.
Mm-hmm.
You're taken through therapy of when you feel down, what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel angry, what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very good experience for me because it helped me learn how to manage anger.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me to know when I'm sad, what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me know that when somebody else is having a mental crisis,
Yes.
what to say to them and what not to say to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I you bring so many points forth. So you talked about bipolar depression, and
Yeah.
sometimes people don't know that really bipolar depression is it's a swing or switch between
Uh-huh.
yeah mania, being very happy, very excited about
Uh-huh.
things, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes just having like these low moments where you can't even wake up, where
Yeah.
you're thinking, what, I don't have nothing to live for.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, I mean. And if you're comfortable, discussing this, what were your symptoms, what did you experience? Was it the mania where you're so
Uh,
excited, or?
so when you're diagnosed with bipolar depression, it means there's a time you're very super excited,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a time that you're very very sad. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so it's a mood swings we call it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it gets a time maybe I'm with you, we want to go out, have fun, or we were planning to go do a pedicure, manicure, and
Yes.
all of a sudden I'll tell you I'm not in the mood, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
then you'll be angry because I just bailed out last minute.
Right.
And you'll be like, okay, so why keep bailing for me last minute?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just let you know that I just need some time by myself. I
Yes.
just want to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of friends get mad and angry and they end friendship.
Mm-hmm.
But in the real sense, when you're depressed and you don't feel like doing anything, don't force them to do it.
Right.
As a good friend, just give them the personal space they are asking.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanna leave, just leave instead of staying and nagging them.
Mm-hmm. Very,
Cause
mm-hmm.
cause the moment you start nagging them, you're pushing them to be very angry.
Yes.
And once they're very angry,
Mm-hmm.
their reaction will be a drastic one.
Yes.
They can either hit you, they can start throwing things around, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just to release the anger in them.
Yes.
So, in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
as a good friend, you can lay down with them and just give them time to see if they will open up to what is
Okay.
bothering them,
Mm-hmm.
or play music, or just do something fun that you guys do that brings joy to them
Okay.
for bipolar depression. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, for your friend,
Hmm. Hmm.
Cookie,
Uh-huh.
when she had the symptoms, when she was very depressed,
Hmm.
um, can you share some of the symptoms that she had?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's hard sharing, but let me try.
No, no, no.
So
And mhm,
we lived, I lived with the late for 1 year, if I'm not wrong,
mhm,
and it reached a time. During the day, she didn't want to come out from her room. She liked staying in her room to watch her TV shows, movies, and all that.
mhm.
And for a good day for Sherry was, let's go out shopping, let's go to the park, play, you know,
Yes.
let's go visit some friends. She loved cooking too.
Mhm,
So if you have a birthday party, she could offer cooking, baking. So those were high moments. Her low moments were just staying in the room,
mhm,
having time for herself. Nobody's welcomed in that room, you know?
mhm,
And we used to respect her boundaries. When she says, I need my time alone,
mhm.
we respected her.
Okay.
So we could give her time alone. And sometimes during her low moments, she didn't have appetite.
Mhm,
So no matter what you could cook or bake, if she doesn't want to eat, she doesn't want to eat. So those were her low moments. And sometimes during her low moments, she could vent through her Facebook page.
okay.
She will be like, today I experienced such and such a thing.
Mhm,
I was abused by okay, so she had a multiple incident where police officers don't know how to handle people with mental illness. She experienced a situation where when we called an emergency if she has overdosed, a
mhm,
police officer will come in,
mhm,
you know, using force, and they could arrest her because she has to get injection. Then they could take her to hospital. So the handling of police and people with mental health in Minnesota is very rough because she incurred a lot of injuries, you know.
from
And
that.
so yeah, later after being discharged, coming home, she's like, "Oh, my body hurts," you know.
Mhm,
And she used to get mad at us calling the police and the police harassing her, you know.
mhm,
So she was like, guys, you don't have to call the police. I've had enough of this life.
mhm.
So even though I'm overdosing, let me go,
Okay.
you know. And
Mhm,
as family, we couldn't let her go. We
mhm,
had to call emergency. And for mental crisis, the first emergency that responds is the police officer in the blue uniform. So during her last moments, there's a time she fell and she had a broken arm.
Mm-hmm.
And then, fast forward, she was experiencing a mental crisis, which the police had to be involved. And the police officer didn't listen to her saying she has a broken arm, and they twisted the arm again.
Wow.
And those were the last moments of her life. She posted that she shared her
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people took it for granted, like she always posts such stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very alarming because they were back complaints, like, of late I'm experiencing this and this and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, it was a weekend, and we had this celebrity from Tanzania, Alikiba, in town. So everybody was focused on that concert. Everybody was excited about it. So we thought everybody was there because there was a lot of Kenyans. And uh, so it was a Saturday morning, coming Sunday morning. Nobody realized that Sherry wasn't okay until she passed away, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And then friends, family, and everybody was like, yeah, she contacted me this time.
Mm-hmm.
She sent me a picture this time. She sent me a text message this time, but I didn't respond, you know?
Yeah. So
And
mhm.
yeah, it was too late.
It was too late.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what I hear is there was a lot of regret, and then there
yeah,
was a brutality involved, and
yeah,
we just maybe we need a better system where we are able to handle family or people going
yeah,
through a mental health crisis. So
yeah.
here, how you talked about an overdose.
Yeah.
So and do you
So,
think anybody with no, sorry, go ahead.
huh?
So when people have like mental health illnesses, when
Hmm.
we are talking to them, so should we be asking them about, do you feel like killing yourself or do you feel like harming other people? Is that something that maybe
Uh,
that could have helped, you think?
no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For somebody having mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
they can't share their suicidal thoughts with you
Mm-hmm.
because that's a very private thing to
Mm-hmm.
them. You know, like me, last year I was having a very challenging time.
Mm-hmm.
2020 was a very challenging time for me,
Mm-hmm.
and for a lot of time last year I was very suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't tell even you as my friend. I couldn't tell you
Mm-hmm.
because you will stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in that period
Mm-hmm.
of being suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
you're scared. Maybe I will try and fail, number one, or I will try and win because all we want to do at that particular time is win, like to die, not to be saved. So yeah, doing an overdose is the mentality that tells you, if I take all my drugs in my room, you know the system will get overwhelmed, shut down, and then nobody will know and I'm out. you know
Yeah.
so even though I'm having a mental crisis and you ask me if I'm suicidal, number one, we will deny, because if you say yes, you'll be arrested about it. you know you'll be arrested, you'll be taken to a mental facility, you have to go through the therapy again, your drugs have to be changed, your system has to be cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to prove yourself before you discharged home that you're not going to try again you know so yeah, they can't say,
They
or
can
we can't say. Yeah.
We can say so. So the scare here then is, you know what? They will put me on a mandatory maybe 72-hour hold,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
yeah, then I really have no say. Maybe they will take away all
My
my
rights.
rights.
Yeah.
So I think this is something we really need to probably talk about some more, because if the people are scared, if if somebody is
Hmm.
scared of saying that you know what, I feel suicidal,
Yeah.
then yeah, they attempt and they're successful, then you know what, we lose them.
Yeah.
So yeah, uh,
To
so
prevent, okay, let's
mhm,
address the elephant in the room. The
yes,
elephant in the room is talking about mental health, you
mhm,
know?
yes,
Uh, I will give examples of two families. So, my family, the
mhm,
Monaris family,
mhm,
and the Nyamokeris
mhm,
family, you know? So, two different families, which one the daughter passed on,
mhm,
and one the daughter is living.
mhm,
So, nobody wants, my dad doesn't want to share that my daughter, she's mentally ill. My daughter sometimes experiences mental breakdown, There's that phobia of saying my daughter, she's suffering from mental illness,
mhm,
you know?
mhm,
So we have tried to create awareness,
mhm,
like to have functions, church functions, events at the park,
mhm,
having a tea time together as women, tea
yes,
time as men,
mhm,
or, going for a movie. The social stuff part of it.
yes,
So we succeeded to do that after Sherry passed on in 2017.
mhm,
We tried the self care and creating a safe space for people.
mhm,
But fast forward 2018, my son became ill.
mhm,
And okay, so a lot of drastic change happened to the group. Like people had to go to school
yes,
in a different state.
mhm,
Others had to move for, yeah, a lot of people had to move for school.
mhm,
And a lot of people had a lot of relationship issues going on. And then to top it all, my son became ill. So the group wasn't, nobody had that mentality to run the group as usual. And
okay.
that's the group I'm talking is Cookie Safe Sports.
Cookie safe spot. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have some things that I picked up from that. So we're talking about stigmatization.
Yes.
So you talked about how we don't have enough support, and if I came out and said I have a mental health illness, I'm gonna be stigmatized,
Yes.
and because we don't have enough education. I mean, despite the fact that we've talked about it in social
Mm-hmm.
functions,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other thing that I picked up on with the conversation was sometimes there are triggers. So
Yes.
could you shed some light on some of the triggers that you would want people to know, or understand, family members to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Still,
pay attention?
yeah. So after doing the research, a lot of mental illnesses are caused by traumas,
Mm-hmm.
be it childhood traumas, be it adulthood traumas. So, for example, uh, I can't, to be honest, Sherry did share her traumas as a child, but I can't really remember. But yeah, she had some. She went through stuff, challenging stuff in her childhood, which growing up into adult, she had not healed from them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and for my case, yeah, I have childhood traumas. I have adulthood traumas.
Mm-hmm.
So I had not healed from the traumas from my childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and here I am an adult with more traumatization, you know, which I'm trying to heal, you know,
Yeah.
and so the triggers for me are having an abusive boyfriend or husband,
Mm-hmm.
having an abusive friend emotionally, that is,
Yes.
emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
There are friends you can have in your life that, okay, you have known them for a short period of time.
Yes.
They have not really understood you.
Yes.
And once you're doing something for yourself, let's say like self-care,
Mm-hmm.
they're not comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you find them yelling about it. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm not comfortable you yelling at me. You
Right.
see?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so it becomes a trigger at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I doing something I love and
Mm-hmm.
this person doesn't like it?
Right. Right.
So some friends are triggers. And what else? Uh, the you can find somebody looking down upon you,
Okay.
you know, that's a trigger because you might think you're doing well in life. And by this point, me saying doing well, it's not financially. Let people not misquote me. Doing well in life is you being healthy all the way around, like physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and all that. So when you find somebody judging your physical health, judging your emotional health, judging even your spiritual health, those are triggers because you're like, okay, why did this person say these words to me?
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of people in the community are not careful with the words they're using,
Okay.
you know? So
Mm-hmm.
we need to be very careful with the words we are using. Because
Okay.
I can joke with you, Judy, because we know each other's joking buddies.
Mm-hmm.
But I can meet a mutual friend of ours
Mm-hmm.
who they don't like joking that much.
Yes.
So the jokes I tell to you, I
Yes.
can't tell the same jokes to them,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
And it's good for, if we go somewhere, it's good for people to understand we joke a lot.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because there's this incident that we had, me and a friend, we joke a lot. So we went to a party, still joking with our, and then somebody became so angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't think it was serious until the
Mm-hmm.
person started reacting.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh my God, yeah, no, we are used to joking. And
Okay.
they're like, no, you guys have triggered my mental health.
Oh.
And
Okay.
we were like, oh, sorry, we didn't know.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So, so words and people, you should know your words. Choose your words wisely.
Choose your words wisely. And
Yeah.
you know, you bring out a very good point, because again, you know, if we are so careful relating with other people but
Yeah.
not our own, because here at the end of the day, when we go to workplaces, you know,
Yes.
there's workplace abuse there.
Yes.
You know, there's language that is acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear you, I hear what you're saying. So,
And there's race issue too.
and there's a race issue too.
Yeah.
Yes. So do you think we okay, so I'm going to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
if I how do you take like if somebody was or, you know, if you got so offended maybe by somebody who maybe misquoted you, or you know,
Uh-huh.
if you're so upset, how do you react to that?
So, how I was taught by my therapist,
Mm-hmm.
if you if somebody is making you really angry,
Mm-hmm.
it is good for you to walk away from the person.
Okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
cause standing there or choosing to go back and back and back and back,
Mm-hmm.
and you know your problem
Yes.
is triggers. Now the person will say a lot of triggers,
Yes.
and you became so angry. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
so in that, when you get to that position, you have two choices.
Mm-hmm.
You personal choices
Mm-hmm.
for you to walk away and be peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and heal as you go,
Mm-hmm.
or stay there, deal with that person, and then you'll be jail.
Are you right? Yeah.
And so,
John
so
Jones.
the
John
better
Jones.
option is you walking away.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I choose to walk away from a lot. Yeah, a lot of drama. Just I just walk, and people are like, say something. I'm like, no, my mental health is more important. And okay, so I've found myself in a situation where even friends are fighting around me,
Mm-hmm.
and sis, I get into the blanket and sink in there and really pass out. And like, seriously, in the middle of a fight, you pass out, and I'm like, what was
Mm-hmm.
I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because since I'm not about to whip anybody,
Are you all
I'm
right?
a cute woman with anger issues. So my therapist told me to take a pain pill and sleep.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Mm-hmm.
good not to enter people's fight. You just walk away for your mental good. So me, I choose to walk away and keep quiet.
For the
Yeah, for
mental
my
good.
own mental good. Since
Yeah.
I love myself too much.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's paramount. That's paramount because, you know, here, how many fights can you get involved in? And they
Ah,
say
yeah, yeah. Women's drama too much.
too much, too much. We can't be caught.
No,
Yeah. So here, how do you deal with a toxic relationship? How
I
do you
walk
deal
out.
with that? You walk out.
So, okay,
Uh-huh.
I've been to one toxic relationship, like really toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And from my Kissy tribe, you have to try to keep a family.
Okay.
Since that tradition is a scam by itself. Cause I'm a very tiny person. Trying to keep I'm an abusive man in the house. What if I'm the one to be killed? What will you tell my mother? What will you tell my son? You see? What will you tell my father? There's some toxic relationship we women we get into.
Mm-hmm.
We know we see all the red flags that it's like blood all over the walls. And you're
Mm-hmm.
still like, I need a man to pay bills. Since I don't need a man to pay my bills. I choose my family, I choose my son 24/7. I choose my mother, you know? Cause number one, when you choose to be with a toxic partner,
Mm-hmm.
that means you really don't care about the rest of your family, your siblings and your parents, you know? And those friends who care about you, you know? A good example of a song is major song ya Siski, you know? There are all those red flags sis. Even your friends are warning you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, Dottie, you know what? I love them person. And you're
Mm-hmm.
like, sis, I don't want to bury you alive or
Mm-hmm.
dead,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't want to see you with scars all over your face
Mm-hmm.
to know that's a toxic relationship, you
Yes.
know? So it is good as women, it doesn't matter if you have 10 kids, 11 kids, they are safe spots to go to help you transition, you know,
Mm-hmm.
from a marriage or a relationship to a
Mm-hmm.
single motherhood
Mm-hmm.
to a healing process. And in future, maybe you can get your happy person or you stay single. Who cares?
Right.
So for me, I chose to walk away. Yeah.
So the advice is, you know what, for the because mental health, of course, abuse, you say
Yeah.
trauma, which leads to PTSD. They are all correlated, and you know what,
Yes.
they could be triggers to a crisis.
Yes.
Yes. So, how about medications? Do you think we are there yet?
So that's a very sensitive topic because
Yes.
each and every mental illness
Yes.
has different, medications.
Yes.
And these medications, all of them have side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, the thing why I said there's a race issue.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was being treated back in 2011, 2012,
Yes.
I was given a bunch of pills.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do I really have to take 10 pills?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, these are for balancing your chemical issues. This is to, uh, so I was very skinny, so I'm underweight. So for my weight to come normal age,
Mm-hmm.
all that. I was like, in Kenya, nobody ever told me my weight is underweight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, a white person is telling me I'm underweight. So I have to take medication to bring my, you know, body to certain weight, which
Right.
was very confusing.
Right.
So I was taking those medications. Hey, all of a sudden I became fat.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in my life, I became fat.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing about being skinny, all of a sudden you're fat, people think you're pregnant.
Okay.
And I got those comments like, Dottie, are you pregnant? And I'm like, for who? For why?
Congratulations, Miss Dottie.
And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no. So it started
Mm-hmm.
traumatizing me.
Mm-hmm.
The weight started traumatizing me. And the
Okay.
same thing happened to my sister Cookie.
Mm-hmm.
She was skinny too.
Mm-hmm.
After taking the medications for mental health,
Mm-hmm.
she became fat.
Yes.
And she was struggling with, weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
And it was out of control. So we went back to hospital and I asked the person who prescribed the medications, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and another thing, there's a drug that triggered the periods. And I
Mm.
had periods for a whole year.
Oh.
So I was like, if somebody could have really told me
Mm-hmm.
these are very severe side effects,
Yes.
as a woman,
Yes.
I'll be like, okay, cut the dosage you're giving me
Mm-hmm.
or replace it with another,
Another
Affect
medication. Yes.
medication which doesn't add weight, which doesn't
Yes.
affect your periods.
Yes.
And the white person was like, yeah, they are written at the prescriptions. Please, that's not the right way for a medic to talk
To,
to a
to,
patient,
to talk to a patient. Yes. So
because the damage is already done.
yes, the
The
damage
good
is
thing
already
for you is to be nice to the patient. Yeah.
right. Yes.
So for medication, be very careful with which medication, side effects, how it's gonna affect your productivity as a woman, how it's gonna affect your productivity as a man. Know each and every medication before you take.
Before you take it. And
Yeah.
you bring out a very good point because a lot of patients talk about being impotent.
Mhm.
A lot of patients talk about not being able to perform.
Yes.
Yes, and then of course you talked about menstruation, like having a menstrual period all year round. Wait, I mean, we're already struggling with the trauma. Like you say, there's a culture shock. You know what? We're
Yeah.
coming here, that there's different kinds of food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so quick question. So when you immigrated to America, how old were you?
20.
You're 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they say at that time, even the brain, the amygdala is not fully developed. You're
Uh,
still a kid, by the
yeah.
way, at that
Yeah.
time. So yeah, you're not fully there. So
Yeah.
your hormones are still raging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going forward, um, what would be your advice to parents who are bringing in their kids maybe in teenagehood or people even immigrating here? So the culture shock,
Yeah.
the mental health, the stigmatization. What is
So,
your advice?
uh, out of research, I
Mm-hmm.
find since we're struggling with age brackets,
It's right. Mm-hmm.
age brackets has really become a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I saying this? Because, okay, and in Africa, we have African traditions
Mm-hmm.
which we were taught to respect to the tip of it.
Yes.
Coming to America,
Mm-hmm.
zero tradition,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, sis, this is, let me speak to the parents to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
Parents who are raising kids in the United States of America,
Mm-hmm.
learn to know your children.
Learn to know your children. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
learn to respect your children.
Mm-hmm.
Cause says in America, it's true. We work 367, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And all we hear our parents say is for a better future, for a better what?
Yeah.
You
So
don't spend time with your children.
and we
You see?
don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
have a quick question. So I have a list, somebody who's logged in from South Africa, and he wants to know
uh-huh.
what. So his name is Andrew. He says, what really causes mental illness, and how should one overcome it? So that's Andrew from South Africa. Thank you again.
Okay. Says what causes mental illness is a lot of things.
Yes.
Number one, a child being abused as a child can cause mental illness.
True. Hmm.
That's traumatizing a child.
Yes.
The child labor in Africa triggers mental health.
Hmm. So by
Uh,
child labor, you mean like
child
a parent assigning them to chores and like hard labor?
shows hard labor. Like
Yes.
we have experienced or we have seen even videos online
Mm-hmm.
of a parent beating up a kid for losing 10 shillings
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or taking hot water, spilling it on the kid's face.
Mm-hmm.
There are those severe punishments with
Yes.
small, small mistakes. You
Yes.
see, those are triggers for kids' mental health. And
Yes.
we have kids who are raped by family members,
Mm-hmm.
and they are told if you ever say you'll be killed. So, rape is a mental health trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, unto adulthood, to people who are
Mm-hmm.
married,
Mm-hmm.
or people in an qualified to be in a relationship. I say qualified because kids nowadays are very fast with the relationship. So for adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
we have we have experienced partners who have mental health issues
Mm-hmm.
before you get married to them.
So this is a pre-existing condition. Maybe
Yes,
maybe they were abused as kids, or
yes,
maybe they also watched their mothers, or something happened.
being
You know.
beaten or the parents being killed.
Yes.
So as if you as an individual
Mm-hmm.
you agree to be married with that person,
Mm-hmm.
it's good for a person to be honest with you.
They need to be honest with you. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cause me, everybody that I date, I become honest about my mental health,
Yes.
and I tell them these are my triggers,
Mm-hmm.
this is what causes my mental health,
Yes.
and please don't do this to me.
Yes. No, now I have another question from Eric.
Uh-huh.
He's in Kissy. He
Mhm.
says, why is mental health more rampant in the US?
Yeah, thank you. It is rampant because in America we have a lot of bills to pay
Mm-hmm.
more than the time we get even to sleep or eat,
Yes.
which forces us to work so hard,
Yes.
work too much,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a family back in Africa.
Okay.
So people, thank you, Eric from Kisi. People in Kisi are very demanding,
Mm-hmm.
and
No.
they are demanding in terms of cash money,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, my daughter is sick. Send me wave.
Mm-hmm.
My father is sick. Send me wave."
Mm-hmm.
The wave app needs to be blocked from America at this point. Cause number one, sis, we sponsor those people,
Mm-hmm.
and when we go December home, they talk shit to us on our face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I sent you money when I was in America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to make more. You will still need more.
You still need
So
more. Yeah.
the mental health is escalating because people back home are so demanding.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
escalating. They're so demanding. And I think they don't understand sometimes that how
They
stressful
assume
it
not
can
to
be.
understand. At this
Hmm.
point, they assume not to
Not
understand.
to understand. So
Yeah.
so we are appealing to send wave to block the,
Block.
yeah, block that for how long would you suggest they block it for?
Sweethearts, we need 2 years for diaspora to heal from our mental breakdown.
Okay, 2 years.
2 years.
There you go. I
We need
feel
a break.
yeah. Okay. All right. So we need more understanding from those people.
Yes.
So yeah, what would you say to parents who are struggling with children, who are sick? What would
Oh,
you?
okay.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
don't assume mental illness is for the young only. It affects even the parents.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who the father took his life,
Okay.
and the boy, not the boy, the man has always tried to
Mm-hmm.
understand what made the dad take his life.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been really traumatizing the man because where he is right now, he's triggered. Is it because of marriage? Is it because of finances that my dad took his life? So he's torn,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to get terms into what is life if my own dad took his life.
Right. Right.
And I have a lot of friends who their mother were killed in front of them.
Mm.
And they're like, is it because of marriage? Is it because of money?
Okay.
And I have a lot of friends which both parents took their lives at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody killed the other and the other killed the other, bullets, and they are gone. So the kids are traumatized and they are always asking these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Were we a burden to our parents?
Right.
So, and this traumatizes the kids to an extent that if they enter any relationship, they enter the relationship scared.
Mm-hmm.
And once they find an abusive partner, they
Mm-hmm.
rebel,
Mm-hmm.
which has led us in a lot of people in diaspora. I don't know about Africa. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in diaspora, they don't want marriage in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to sign a marriage certificate.
Mm-hmm.
in their lives. Cause of why?
Mm-hmm.
Bad experiences. Through family, they eat friends
Mm-hmm.
that, yeah, anything that reminds you of somebody's death, you don't want to
Yes.
go there.
You don't want to go there. So
Yeah.
you know what? And those are things that I'm writing down. We need to really explore those things and just figure
Yeah.
out how we support them. Now, I have another question from Irene from Lebano. She
Hmm.
says now, should people from the village stop asking money from diaspora, asking for help?
Let me talk. Let me address that question from my own angle of family.
Yes.
Everybody in the diaspora, they know where their shoe hurts.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
I understand my family better than you, Judy.
Yes.
You know, and people in the village, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a land you're digging and planting food.
Great.
You're physically fit.
Mm-hmm.
Number two,
Yes.
you are mentally upright. Number three,
Mm-hmm.
people from the diaspora have given you money to improve your living, right?
Yes.
So, my question to the people in the village,
Mm-hmm.
in the diaspora, we don't have any land we are digging food, we buy food.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Number two,
Mm-hmm.
all the foods we are having in diaspora are GMO, a
Mm-hmm.
high percentage of it.
Yes.
If we are buying organic seeds, we are buying it like gold,
Mm-hmm.
which that's a lot of money we are spending.
Yes.
So, my question to the village people, how much money is enough for you people to develop?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep. And I reiterate that, because we have resources, we have the land, and how can we best make use of that?
yes,
Yeah. So instead of just waiting for the handouts, and they say sometimes when you don't work for something, you have no appreciation for it.
yeah.
So yes, so I support that answer.
And for me as a person, let
Mm-hmm.
me answer the lady again.
Mm-hmm.
I've educated a lot of people, not only my village.
Mm-hmm.
I've I've helped because I do charity, as I said in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So when you throw your question like that from village and
Mm-hmm.
us from the diaspora, we are like, if you throw your hands up, we're gonna throw our hands up. Let's meet in the middle.
Right. Let's meet in the middle. So
Yeah. Mental
yeah.
health first.
Mental health first. So we need to take care of our mental health. And the last question was, there was somebody who was asking whether there is a connection between depression and mental health, and really depression
It is
is
mental
mental
health.
health. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's from I think Rhoda in Nigeria. So it's so interesting. I mean, thank you for bringing that perspective. And we need to garner some support and really help people who are struggling with mental
Yeah.
health. Yeah, and not stigmatize them and
Yes.
just stamp them down. I cannot thank you enough. I know it was short
Mhm.
notice, but I really
Okay, and for the
appreciate.
advice, you
Yes.
asking about advices. So advices goes two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Advice to the parents. If
Yes.
you have a child struggling with mental health,
Yes.
don't lock them up as slaves.
Okay.
Allow them to receive treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Allow them to mingle with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Allow them to take medications if they are willing to.
Mm-hmm.
Allow them to vent to anybody.
Yes.
Don't limit them,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And for the kids who are having parents struggling with mental health,
Mm-hmm.
learn to understand where your parent is coming from.
Yes.
Look for them help. Talk to their friends to surround your parents,
Yes.
so that we don't have tragedies,
Exactly. Yes.
because of late we are having tragedies. Kids dying at the same time the parent dies.
Yes. Yes.
And of late, last year only, COVID was nothing. The people who died through mental health, died through suicide, was 90%,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And
Yes.
nobody really paid attention on that. Forward to 2021. Judy, how many people in the diaspora who have taken their own lives in 2021?
A
And
lot.
the young adults.
And they're young adults, and that's the elephant in the room. So one thing I tell you is we don't talk about the suicides. We
Yeah,
don't talk about, drug addiction,
yeah,
because really a lot of people have died from that because they're
yeah.
isolating themselves. And we even have here. This is fine, but please ask Dottie if she's married. This is Evans from Kenya. Miss Dottie, are you married?
Evans, he wants to pay my cow, my dowry.
How many cows do you like? How many green
Sweetheart,
cows
that's
or
my
red
father's
cows?
question to answer because I'm a very tough cookie.
Okay.
If
Okay.
you can handle that Muzee Monari, you can handle me. Whichever
Okay.
cows.
Whichever cows. And then there's Caleb from
I'm single,
you're single. Okay. Single and yeah,
not ready
very
to
single.
mingle.
Not ready to mingle yet,
No.
Evans. Yeah, but you know what? We'll keep you posted. And then there's Caleb. He's from Uganda. He's very appreciative of your time. So yeah, we need to have this discussion again. So we'll talk
Yeah, we
about the
will.
suicide.
So, what's for this is what we are planning
Yes,
for all the viewers listening.
yes.
We are planning to go for a tour.
Hmm.
We're gonna start with America, so we'll be doing back and forth. We'll
Yes.
be visiting one state this year, one state in Africa, one country in Africa.
Hmm.
So going back and forth, it's a really big project we are planning for the
Okay.
mental health awareness.
Hmm.
So it has started.
Hmm.
So starting next year, we're
Hmm.
gonna see. We're gonna start with. We have to start with motherland Kenya. If it works
Yes.
in Kenya, it will work everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. So
So
this
yeah,
is through
so
Darrell's foundation, or
yeah,
through the
through the
mental
Wealth
health awareness.
Foundations and other
Mhm.
sponsors,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And other sponsors. And you know what? Then we bring everybody on board. We
Yes.
even now we have another secret admirer from South Africa. He wants your contact information. And John from South Africa, uh, we will be
Facebook.
reaching out to you. FB away.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. All right.
Always
Well, thank
available on
you.
Facebook.
Always available on there. All right. So thank you so much, Dottie. I mean, this is so much
You're
rich
welcome.
information. Um, yeah. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Okay, you too. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.